Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wellness Day, a podcast coming to you every Wednesday here from the Jahangir Wellness Center. My name is Kavas Jahangir, and today from the JWC studio, I've got Dr. Madhur Motwani. He is a doctor, PhD in inflammation, and now a founder of a very interesting company, which we'll be talking about soon, called Potion. Thank you so much for being here, Doc. Should I call you Dr. Motwani, Madhur, Doc, PhD? What should I call you?
Call me mother.
Call you Mother. Good. We keep things casual.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure.
I'm a huge fan of nutrition, especially in the last 3, 4, 5 years. So I'm very keen and very excited to have this conversation with you, especially ever since you launched Potion. So thank you so much for being here. But before we get into what Potion is, talk to us about gut health and microbiome, because that's the buzzword that everyone has been
Yes.
talking about lately. I see it so much on my Instagram feeds now. And I know that Potion is hugely
Our central tenet
central, exactly, is on that. So before we get into what Potion does, I thought we just touch about what is gut health, how does that link to the microbiome, how does that link to the body, what is it?
Absolute. So just a short intro about myself. I train as a doctor
Okay.
from JJ Hospital, and I was really fascinated by immunology, which took me to study role of fish oil, omega-3 fatty
Okay.
acids in inflammation. And I think the initial bug of nutrition was probably, introduced to me,
Right.
introduced inside me at that point. I worked for vaccine companies and pharma companies after that.
Okay.
In fact, I was part of Jahangir
Right.
Medical
Yeah,
Development
we have.
Center, helping startups. And I think after COVID, mainly, when people realized, in fact, we did a study with Jahangir Clinical Development Center showing that the morbidity of COVID was very high in people who had metabolic health issues.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And immunity was a buzzword then.
Yeah, of course.
I think my wife, Dr. Priya,
Right.
used to see these patients day in, day out. And we realized that a pill or something is not going to fix this something, like this. It has to be a lifestyle change.
Absolutely.
And that's where we realize that, we need to take nutrition a bit more seriously as doctors.
Right.
And I would say, when I say that, I will emphasize that many patients have the intention, thanks to social media,
Right,
they
right.
have the knowledge also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think the real challenge is in making sure it's put together in a form which is easier, accessible, and affordable. And that's where we founded Potion.
Lovely. Yeah.
I think the idea was to make health
Easy.
easy. Easy is the first word.
Yeah.
Enjoyable. And then I will put effective.
Okay. I like that order, because
Yeah.
a lot of people would start with effectiveness
I
and then you lose the rest.
No, because I think wellness, it's a very interesting philosophy of, are you a vitamin or you are a candy? You know? Oh, sorry. I mean, are you a painkiller or you are a candy?
Right,
Because
right.
sometimes a vitamin is something you will take because somebody told you
Told you take it,
There's
exactly.
no reason, no pain that will be fixing it. And gut health came in the picture because a lot of these benefits, metabolic health benefits, immunity, in fact, stress, which was a big factor after COVID, many people went through because of work from home, have their roots in gut.
Absolutely.
And the impact fiber-based products have on gut and how they can modulate these different
You mean the positive impact?
positive
Right.
impacts
Yeah.
was something we really wanted to tap into. And this is where the tool was, the mechanism was, if I may use a bit physical thing, the mechanism was gut health. The end outcome was these everyday challenges which are not reported maybe in the hospital, or patients don't come up with it, but they're living with it because somewhere they assume it is part of modern life.
Right.
But they're not happy with it. It's affecting them day in, day out. And the tool really was to bring together fiber.
Yeah.
And here is one place where we wanted to be honest and true to our core, was to keep it all natural.
Yeah. We'll come to that later, because I mean, there's so many food companies now that
Which use the word natural very loosely maybe, but our
Yeah.
idea was to just take nature. It has done 95% of the job, preserve everything which is there, and just bring it together, to help a person optimize their gut.
Yeah.
Now, this is another very interesting thing. What makes a gut a good gut?
Right.
What is the definition of a good gut?
Everyone has their own definition of gut
Everybody
as well.
has their own definition, but while we may keep on arguing upon good gut bacteria and
Yeah.
bad gut bacteria, I think all of us can unanimously agree that different types of bacteria is very important.
Yeah.
So it's like a diversity of bacteria, which is one of the indicators, is one of the main indicators of good gut health. I think I always give example to my patients. Think about going to a gym.
Yeah. I love doing that. So
Yeah,
Right.
and you could be doing a lot of people do, today is my biceps day,
Right.
it's my triceps day.
Uh-huh.
I think majority of us skip a leg day.
Uh, yeah.
I used to, and we know it is good,
Right.
but somehow
I know your wife won't skip leg day though.
She
I've
doesn't
seen her at the
skip
gym
leg
and she's
between two of us we do a full workout.
okay. Fair enough. Okay. That's a good team. Good team.
I think with health, whatever idea was, diversity comes when we feed our body different types of things.
Yeah.
So even with microbiome, every bacteria has a preference, and every bacteria has a preference for certain type of fiber. So imagine a circuit training, little of everything.
Okay. I see the analogy you're going with.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, as an everyday individual, I'm not trying to be Neeraj Chopra here that I want my scapular strength
Right,
and
right.
scapular strength to be good. I am just trying to be, in a very general sense, healthy. And
Yeah.
so I just need to make sure that, I am healthy on all fronts. Or, if you go to a gym, a trainer would make sure there is no aches or pain there.
Got it,
All
yeah.
your muscles are functioning, your cardiovascular health is good. And that's what we're trying to do.
Right.
We are trying to bring together different types of fiber so we can culture different types of bacteria.
Okay.
And this is very important, covers, because when all bacteria come together, they create an ecosystem. Like we live in communities.
Yeah.
And when they are all together, their functional pathways are dependent on each other. And they produce the right postbiotics called short chain fatty acids.
Okay.
And this is where the magic starts. These things are absorbed from the gut and travel to different locations in the body. They will go to your pancreas, to your adipose tissue.
And this all starts from the fiber that
Yeah.
comes from.
And not just one type of fiber,
Yeah.
the diversity of fiber.
I see.
So while we may be arguing on good bacteria, bad bacteria, I think one thing which is unanimously agreed amongst all different gut health researchers and gastros is that diversity is very important.
Okay.
So the way we go to a gym, we had to make sure that every
You're
organ
getting
is
everything.
functioning at its peak. Of course, if you want to optimize it further, then you can choose and tailor the different types of fiber, or sometimes with probiotics
Yeah,
and
yeah.
other things to, maybe make it a bit more specialized for the health goal you have.
Right.
But a basic health, state of health comes from making sure that all the different muscles of the gut or here, the bacteria of the gut are then optimal range.
Okay.
And that's what we are at the moment just trying to do with making smoothies and soups.
Oh, you're making soups as well.
We're
Yeah.
also making soups, yeah.
Okay.
So again,
But
easy was a thing. We want
Yeah.
to make sure in monsoons and winters, people like what they are having. Sometimes the preference for cold is not that much. So we made sure we have a soup line also.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, everything you talked about right now seems very sensible. I'm sure.
In fact, I'm glad
there's
you
a lot of science.
you took some time to have your smoothie because
Yeah, yeah.
All,
I was gonna-
if you just look at it, all the oats have settled down.
I was going to talk about this in a
All the oats have settled down. That's because all the soluble and insoluble fiber has come down there.
So this is one of the smoothies, right?
Yeah. What
Okay.
I'm also having is what you are having is a combination of blueberry and oats.
Blueberry and oats.
So
Okay,
for me,
that's-
they are pectin and beta glucans.
Mhm.
For you, that is blueberry and oats. I'm giving you two different types of fibers. I am
Oh,
taking
right.
here.
You're using the scientific names.
I am here taking mint and ashgod.
Okay.
Lemon.
Well, cheers.
Cheers to that. So I am having a combination of hemicellulose and cellulose.
Okay. You're using all the complicated sciencey
Not
names.
for you. Did you like it?
I loved it.
I had done my job there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I want you to, the
You
first thing
you
is
can actually taste the blueberries and
because we use freeze-dried blueberries.
Hmm.
We don't do extracts, we don't do flavoring.
okay.
Why separate everything out when they are perfectly in the right sync and
Yeah, yeah.
combination already? And
So that's what you're saying. You keep it simple for people.
very simple. I think people understand it. We can taste them. We can give them the blueberries. They taste it. They can connect with the flavor.
Okay.
So that really helps. I think wellness needs to be seen in a way which is, a more of a sensory element.
Easy.
You know, it should be easy. It should feel good.
Yeah. Because that's what I was coming to earlier. You know, you see so many now today, food companies just popping up from all over the place, pushing
All sorts of supplements.
all sorts
and
of
other
supplements,
Things, yeah.
gut health, you know, get your microbiome sorted by eating this, eating that, and then they'll sell you, 17 different supplements that you have to have throughout the day and stuff like that.
I think
So,
nature has done all of that.
yeah.
And there are other polyphenols and other complicated terms I can tell you now, but I will not go there because again, there is many different polyphenols and phytonutrients in natural food already there.
Right.
If we just bring it to the table and have it, I always say, don't go for the apple, go for the rainbow.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's very
Nice one.
important. You have the full diversity of ingredients.
Hmm.
If you ask me today, is fresh better? Yes, definitely fresh is better.
Yeah.
Fresh, unfortunately, is not
easy.
And that's why we thought, let's what's the closest thing to fresh? So we use a freeze drying technology, use a vacuum to preserve the flavor, the color, the aroma, the nutrient quality.
Right. So all South has to do is just buy this. How does it come?
So we have 2-3 models.
Right.
We provide as sachets, which you can blend.
Okay.
We provide a blender also.
Yeah.
So you just get your cold water, blend it, and have it before your meal, ideally.
Okay, have it before me. Oh, that's right.
So the fiber really
That's another one thing I've been hearing. Actually, I've been doing this myself. Eat your veggies first and then line the stomach. Yeah.
So you get the good things in first.
Right.
And another thing which we also believe is we don't give people actively negative food advice. By which I mean, I will not tell you don't eat your pizza.
Hey, nice.
I will not tell you don't eat your samosa or vada pav. Eating is a zero-sum game.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you eat the good things first, there's less space for the bad thing anyway.
Yeah.
So why should I take away that emotional connect you have with your pizza?
Which is so strong, and that shouldn't actually be demonized either.
And if I come, even if you know me as a doctor or as a, friend, if I come and directly attack the thing which you like, you are going to resist subconsciously against me. So why not, tell you about the positive things? And I think same thing is with wellness, I think still now majority of if you ask me, focus on wellness is trying to scare people. If you don't do this will.
Yeah.
I think we should look at it very differently. You will feel much better. You will be able to do this and this also. You will not have to worry about. Even the wording has to be, I think, a bit more
make yourself better,
positive and positively structured.
Right.
Which I get when I walked into this. I mean, we walked into. People who are outside from Pune, they will not know the Mills compound. I'm
right.
Where this clubbing place? We had this wellness center
in the middle of all this.
Already, when I walked into the center, there was a positive vibe of happiness to it.
So, which is really what we're aiming for.
I think you've done a great job at that, and it primes me.
Yeah.
I know nobody's going to come and tell me, don't do this.
Bad. And now they can have some smoothies here as well.
I hope we really are able to bring it here and offer it to our users here.
What's your favorite flavor?
So I can do. I'm a rainbow guy. I will say all of them.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably like having to choose a favorite child.
I would say have all of them. That's the best way. Even if you're having a little of everything. Is the motto.
Right.
Start slowly, start gradually.
So when did you start this actually?
In 23 we established.
Okay.
We have a food lab in Venture Center. They have been a big supporter in the biotech space.
Right.
And we do all the formulation. We have our own gut microbiome model, by the way.
So what do you mean by model?
Samples from people.
Okay.
Who are either healthy or who have metabolic syndrome.
Right.
Metabolic syndrome is basically a combination of high blood pressure, glucose, triglycerides, cholesterol, the different cutoffs for that. We take the stool samples. We assess at the baseline what is the capacity to produce these short chain fatty acids.
Okay.
And then we co-culture them with our smoothies, the one which we are having.
Yeah. Okay.
And keep them for 24 hours in a lab setup, trying to mimic what is happening in the gut. And ask the question, which smoothies are doing a better job at producing. So we are also able to tailor make certain formulations for disease and hopefully in future for certain people also.
Right.
And we have a clinical trial coming up.
I was literally just going to ask you, whether you're doing clinical trials for this and stuff like that.
Yes, so we have a clinical trial coming up where we will be giving people a 3-week, 4-week plan pre and post.
Okay.
We'll be taking their stool sample pre and post the trial.
So you'll be giving them these
the
smoothies.
smoothies, yes.
Can I sign up?
You are aren't you already?
Yeah, exactly.
It's an implied consent in your case, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And
No, but I'm so glad that, companies like, well, Potion is taking that so seriously versus just, putting a product out there and then just trying to sell it in under the guise of wellness, which is what's happening today.
I think as doctors, we have to be open and honest about finding the sweet spot between taste, health. It's quite likely this first pilot trial may not yield sufficient results, and that could be for many reasons. Could be the duration, could be the intensity, or how many times they have it. But even if we have chosen the biomarkers which show major effect and which can also show small mechanistic effect,
Yeah.
and that will help us to reiterate again our formulations and come back strongly for the next trial.
Right.
This process is very important, I think, for any. Just because we are nutrition or if we are getting FSSI license,
Yeah.
which is very different from drug license,
Absolutely.
doesn't mean we don't have to be rigorous.
Right.
I don't think we had that right to kind of park us in that corner.
Yeah. No, I think it's because you're starting as doctors and approaching it from that standpoint versus
responsibility
exactly versus a
These are some
businessman.
serious concerns we have. We are fine our language at this moment when we talk about food labeling.
yeah.
I think claims are very important territory.
That's the other thing actually. How do you handle your food labeling?
I'll give you a very good example, of how claims work.
Yeah.
From a very basic.
High protein this, high protein that.
So, milk has calcium.
Yes.
This is the first claim. Milk has calcium and calcium is good for bones. This is what something called a nutrient claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then if you say milk is good for bone health, now you have entered something called a function claim. You haven't mentioned a disease yet.
Right.
Remember.
Okay.
The last thing is milk can prevent osteoporosis. Now you have mentioned a disease. Now you are in the health claim. But I'm still saying prevent.
Uh-huh.
If you now start saying your particular supplement or
right.
something manages, treats, cures,
Huh.
you come in the drug space. In fact, if you turn any food label,
Yeah.
there will be a disclaimer there saying these statements haven't been verified by FDA and not.
Oh wow, this is
Have you noticed that? Every packet will definitely put that
so they're putting their disclaimer out
disclaimer, but
whilst at the same time
while
saying that
that's the
we can
marketing
prevent
teams
this.
and the regulatory team trying to strike a balance, I would imagine.
So that's really something that people should be looking out for on
Yes,
food labels.
yes.
Yeah.
So one thing is whether they have done the studies
Yeah.
and have they published the studies? Are they open for interpretation? There's the important things. But again, I mean, I at the same time also believe if somebody starts something, even if it is 5%, 10% of what is ideal, a good start is very important.
Yeah, and you're starting from the right place. You're starting it with the right heart, with the right intent. So I think Potion definitely has that.
And same for patients also. Progress over perfection, I always say.
Uh-huh.
Today, the ideal thing for you would be maybe have, I don't know, a gram of protein per your body weight.
Yeah.
Even if you start at, with natural sources to, make it 0.5 gram or 0.4 gram, that's better than zero.
Yeah, absolutely.
So starting is very important.
Right.
And I think once we get the momentum, there's only more better things to get.
So where do you see Potion going in the next few years?
So I would really want it to be, a nutrition brand which you can fall back on when you're not eating healthy stuff on your own. I don't think I want to replace the old grandma style advice you get of eating your fresh veggies and fruits.
No, because that's
the core.
heart of it.
I will
Yeah.
not ever say that, we will.
You're enhancing that. You're
We are
standing on
making it
those shoulders.
easier.
Yeah.
And I hope by making it easier, we fill in those gaps when you are traveling, when you are in office, or when you are, abroad. Or
It's like you said, just making it easy.
just making it easy.
But true and
But at the
authentic.
same time, helping you understand that, actually eating them, and if it becomes a good habit while you are in the first phase, you learn yourself the art of cooking well with a nutritious food.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something, I would really want it to be from a as a purpose.
Yeah.
People to appreciate, yes, these trainers, if I may use terminology again,
Right.
taught us how to work out well. So if somebody can tell the same thing, and we always have a fallback when we can go to Potion.
Yeah. Nothing like having a super trainer like yourself.
I wish I could reach that place, but this is where it would be, and re-emphasizing the value of eating clean, eating natural food with all its natural ingredients in the natural matrix.
Yeah.
We use the word plant matrix a lot.
Yeah.
Again, to explain this point that food comes as a food. Nobody eats vitamin B12. Or you don't eat vitamin C. You eat an orange or a lemon. So there is a value to that, and that's what we are trying to educate and make people aware of by providing these
Right.
freeze-dried foods. And I hope it gains momentum and reaches more and more people.
No, that I'm sure it will. But I will ask you one last question.
Yes, please.
Again, favorite flavor. You have to have one.
I need to ask my sales team which one is not running the most.
So
So jamun is my favorite.
Okay.
The flavor we call piperine. It's a combination of jamun
okay.
and bottle gourd with black pepper.
With black
And if I can break it down, pectin, hemicellulose.
Oh, you have to little bit of a scientific
Little of science, I need to make sure
science flex
I
at the
sound a
end.
bit authentic, but yeah,
Good.
and the name is piperine, but try it out.
I will.
think you had that
Okay.
that sachet with you, you will love it.
I will do that. Thank you so much for being here, Doc.
Pleasure.
It's been an absolute
I've-
pleasure.
See, you finished yours.
Yeah.
fully.
Cheers
So
again.
cheers to that.
Thank you again. And we will
Thank you
hopefully
very
be having many more of these smoothies
I
again.
would love that.
Thank you all, and we'll see you all for another episode of Wellness Day. I will have a sip of this. But before you leave, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons here at the bottom. Thank you, and see you next week.